When I think of the changes in the world that Bitcoin is helping bring about, today, the way that our system works is that nation states print money. Political processes and their local economies and whatnot can actually change the value of that money. It makes it very difficult for anyone who's just earning and saving for their family and trying to be responsible to maintain that. So you're constantly having your savings eroded. So for me, I would rather embrace change upfront than watch what I've been putting away for my kids disappear over time. Ultimately, for me, I think taking power away from the government and giving it back to people, that's liberating. I mean, back in the day, Bitcoin was the only game in town when we started our company. People really couldn't use it to pay for anything, and we wanted to change that. So the first project that we launched at Thesis was Fold. It was a way for you to actually spend your Bitcoin at Starbucks and Target and these major retailers. What we learned over the years, though, is people don't want to spend their Bitcoin, right? What they really want to do is tell you the story of when they first bought it and how they spent it, right? Because we all had more at some point, and then we lost some, and then later we're like, wow, what if I had held? Since then, what Thesis has done is we've made it easier and easier for people to hold Bitcoin and make crypto part of their lives. We knew some people would continue to care about things like payments. Some people would care about rewards. They'd care about their salary, getting their salary in Bitcoin. They'd care about putting Bitcoin in their 401ks and retirement accounts. Other people would want to invest in real estate. So that was the thought with Thesis. Fold is one expression of that. People want to earn Bitcoin. They want to make it part of their lives. We just had this lesson taught to us, which is like, yeah, spending is cool, but earning and saving is actually more difficult. And that's really the side of history we wanted to be on with Bitcoin. So Fold, we pivoted from helping people spend their Bitcoin to helping people spend their dollars and earn Bitcoin. And that was a big change. Actually, every product since then, it's a different expression of that same pivot. A really easy way to think about the products Thesis ships is they're the products that I've needed in my life. I actually tried to buy a house with Bitcoin 3 separate times. And the lender told me, oh yeah, Bitcoin, we love Bitcoin. Here, come in, sit down, sell your Bitcoin, come back in 30 days, and I'll pretend I didn't even know it came from Bitcoin. What a shift. I went in to talk to a financial professional and they treated me almost like a criminal, like it was a secret. Mezo is about taking the promise of Bitcoin. When you hold your wallet, when you hold your keys, you hold your coins. It's about taking that promise and extending it to the rest of finance. So Mezo is a banking and finance layer for Bitcoin. What that means is that instead of asking a bank for a loan and having to give up your house or your Bitcoin or whatever your collateral is, you're asking yourself for a loan and actually setting your own terms. This is a huge shift. Instead of people saying, thanks, we'll hold your Bitcoin and giving you money, what Mezo does is it actually lets you lock your Bitcoin and print a token that is worth $1 to use. So that's the core idea. And I think that's what's powerful, and how this is actually really, it's a new paradigm for Bitcoin, is instead of talking to a counterparty and asking them, pretty please, can I get a loan at good terms? You are the counterparty and you are giving yourself terms. If you're a Bitcoin holder, you might have heard of Celsius or BlockFi. These are large lending platforms that have failed in the past. And what's interesting about these platforms is that Bitcoin is all about decentralization, and it's all about keeping control of your money. But then these centralized lenders came along and people gave up control of their money. And they did that because they were trying to earn yield or they're trying to get loans. But the truth is we have the tech to do this without all that risk. What's interesting when you look at one of these failed lenders is you can actually see everything that happened on chain. You can see where people's savings went. You can see how the money was abused. What's cool about Mezo is you take that a step further. You don't just see what's happening with your money. You can see that it's not being abused. So that's a major difference. And honestly, it's a big tech upgrade for Bitcoin to go from, okay, I can control my money and I can send it to someone, to I can control my money and I can send it to someone. And I can be very confident that they're not abusing it. So I think that's the comfort and kind of the superpower that Mezo brings to Bitcoin. Over the years, not only have we as a team gotten better and better at security by staying on our toes and having good posture, we've also learned to work with some of the best auditors in space. We also have our own internal auditing team. What that lets us do is it lets us move quickly And it lets us actually work with more third-party auditors because we do the initial work and then we can give them, okay, hey, we already did the easy stuff. Now can you look for the hard stuff? That's the cost of doing business in our space. I've had a couple formative experiences in my life over the years that have brought me to Bitcoin and to my work thesis. I was raised in a family of entrepreneurs. My dad was a carpenter. I worked with him in the summers. I saw on the one hand, just by working hard and showing up, because he would show up and he kept his word, I saw that he grew this business from something that at the time people would have looked down on that felt very blue collar. And I saw him grow to a pretty significant business with multiple teams. On the flip side, this man that I deeply respected, I also saw him basically get one-shotted by online day trading. Around the dot-com boom, I saw him find Yahoo Finance. I saw him find online forums. And it didn't take long before I heard my parents talking about whether or not we could keep our house. So it could have gotten a lot worse. And when he realized this was a dangerous thing and the position he put us in, he stopped. But I took a lot from that. I think I saw these two different paths. One of someone taking an innate quality of theirs and then combining it with just hard work and being able to create something really incredible. And then to also see how quickly legitimized gambling could take over and take all these years of hard work and all this good intent and turn it. That taught me a lot. It taught me, on the one hand, I learned, and I kind of had this value of, I want to put in extra for me and my family, and I want to get the rewards for that. But then I also saw financialization. It's a tool, but it's also addicting and dangerous. Another experience that I had here was actually when my dad passed away. He ended up getting sick with cancer. He had worked and worked and worked his whole life. He had saved. Despite the brief bit of day trading, he actually had done very well. And then a couple years after his retirement, we found out that he had terminal cancer. One of the things that I noticed is that this is a man who had done so many things right, and then he had delayed gratification in his life. They had just bought an RV to retire in, and he didn't get to enjoy it. So I had these kind of competing life lessons, right? One is, look at what you can do if you'll put in the time and if you'll keep your word and if it'll be high integrity. But another was, look at what financialization can do if you try to make money too fast. But of course, the final one was, you don't take it with you. So when I look at Bitcoiners, you see them through each of these. You see the people who are, it's called DCAing, dollar cost averaging. I buy a little bit from my paycheck every month. I have some Bitcoin. But I work, and I work hard, and it's important to me. And they're building toward retirement or savings. But then you see folks who say they want it easy. And sometimes shortcuts work, and you make ungodly amounts of money, and you become some streamer on the internet, whatever, sometimes. But a lot of the time it doesn't, and no one hears about it. You don't hear about all the people who just lost their money. But then finally, you get to this last stage where you've built discipline all your life, and you've learned these financial lessons, and then you don't get to enjoy it. So what's the value? And the truth is, what you need is balance. My dad could have enjoyed more. And so what I hope for Bitcoiners, and I think what I've learned in my life, is having a long time preference, being disciplined with your money, understanding that the system that you're a part of isn't always looking out for you. Those things are good. But you also need to find your checkpoints. Maybe it is time to get married. Maybe it is time for kids. Maybe it is time to get a house. That's what I'm trying to help people do. I want to take this desire for a better life, and I want to help people go somewhere that it's savings and growth in a way that's higher integrity. Yeah, so that's why I do what I do.